remember to actually find the blinking tab that has the links and post them in places. And I can use announcements in order Discordia. Is there anyone else oh yeah, I posted it here as well on this server. So, hello and welcome to Dark Heresy 2nd Edition Burning Systems Suicide Cell Season 2 Session 10 Subsession 6 Part 9.
By the way, I figured out what the problem was. It's not OD1 but 0 dice 1.
Oh. So is that proven 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So hello, welcome. I am your host and dungeon master, Deadlight. I just realised I forgot to do the intro for clans because I'm smart. I am joined by Grey.
Hello. Playing Sengu, the Inquisitor's Bloodhound.
I am joined by Rachel. I am joined by Swimmer.
Hello.
And I am joined by a name I'm going to butcher if I attempt to say it.
Urat. Yes, I play Icarus Yagsby, the wonderful highborn official guy.
Who replaced our last highborn.
Yeah.
So you, yes. Who was the other new player I had last week? Balto, was it? Oh, Balto's going to be there, isn't he? Right.
Yeah. Balto and Serene might turn up, but
Balto
we
should
don't
turn
know
up,
yet.
but
Yeah.
we don't know when. So yeah. For the cell which's name I've forgotten, I did give it a name. I'm not completely stupid. I'm sure I gave you a name. What was the bloody name? I didn't post it in general, that's for certain. What's his name? Anyway, while I look for that, yeah, you are brought onto the Gilded Promise. And it certainly is gilded. And when I say gilded, I mean like the gilding is gilded.
Ah, it's quite lovely.
And the gilded is gilded. Which is a nice way of saying that the entire bloody thing is made out of gold.
My eyes.
Yes. You
Reminds
probably
me of
should wear shades on board. I think everyone else has meanwhile taken to wear shades while on board of the Gilded
Or
Promise.
just like finding places to hide.
Uh,
Possibly knocking out lights so there's no shiny endlessness.
Icarus would be taking off that damn armor he was wearing. That looks much better on the mannequin than it does on him. It's a little too heavy for him.
What the hell was I calling
It's
yourself?
just
I'm sure I gave your name a cell.
dead.
Your cell a name. Even. Wow, my brain does not.
I don't recall.
Yeah, it's been way too long. It's been like
It was a while ago.
yeah, it's been like 3 weeks.
mm.
apparently I didn't post it there.
Maybe you did post it in Act 2?
Yeah, I'm just looking to...
Nope, you did not.
Can I search on here? No. Anyone who finds the name of the cell gets a cookie. But anyway, you are brought onto the Guild of Promise, and you are brought before a tech priest. This particular tech priest, in fact. She's sat in an office which is not gilded. It's quite plain. There's a few war trophies and stuff behind her. Various types of blast guns and battlefield weaponry. In a corner stands a suit of power armor. She herself wears a set of brown carapace with red trim underneath her red robes and mechanicus, although she bears no insignia of any forge world. She is sat at a desk. And she sips a cup of recap. She gestures you, the three of you, in.
I go ahead and enter into the office and just wait for the rest of my friends. Well, comrades, I should say.
It's actually, sorry, I forgot. It's not just you three. There's a few other sort of like support acolytes with you. They're kind of like, they'll sit on the ship and do the paperwork and stuff.
Right.
But anyway, the group of you are ushered into the room. You also know one of the very distinct things about her is she's got bright purple hair.
Oh my.
So, once you're all in the room, she nods and says, "I'm sorry to hear about your late throne agent."
Thank you.
Yes, it really is unfortunate, and especially so because, well, we weren't aware of what exactly we were dealing with.
This is a new and reoccurring problem for the Infernal Inquisition. As such, well, I don't like to waste assets when I can avoid it. And seeing as your cell is now disbanded with the death of your throne agent, perhaps we can make a nice easy agreement, and we'll just fold you guys into Suicide Cell, since I've now lost a few members of my own.
Well, how logical is that name? Exactly.
Well, when we first started investigating, we had a ogre and a rat, and the cell would infight. As you've probably already noticed, the cell has a Xeno in it, so...
Yes, I did notice that.
I did, and I curious.
I'm sure you can ask him questions later.
Well, and the same deal applies as with our previous agent.
I am not aware of what the deal was.
Well, perhaps in private we can talk about that.
Raised eyebrow. She sips a recap. What I can offer you is shelter and lodging on board here, as well as a reasonably working cover. You will be aiding my other acolytes, who can probably bring you up to speed quite quickly, but we've currently been tasked with investigating an organisation known as the Unseen Hand. They devoted a large number of resources to a forge world. Luckily, Suicide Cell was able to dismantle the operation and eventually kill the individual in question. Well, not kill, but capture the individual in question. Unfortunately, his brain was turned into a potato in the process,
Huh.
and efforts have been made to try and unpotato his brain, with varying degrees of success. Now, we are investigating other leads of it. It seems that this organisation has a affinity with these creatures, or at least something has triggered their resurface. Your encounter with them is the second reported encounter with them in recent reports. Although there was a third report that came to light that was tied to them, a certain legend of a ship. So.
And so, what do we know of these creatures? Can they be killed?
They can be killed, but they are incredibly hard to do so. They are classed as a sector-threatening creature, and that the Adaptus Astartes has dealt with them in the past in large numbers.
Okay.
These creatures seem to have a sort of maturing period. And while the nest is still young, they are able to be dealt with. However, if they manage to establish a nest and move out, they become a much larger issue.
As we're aware of.
So,
Hey, hello, Bouncer.
yeah, sorry. So I'm guessing that blowing the ship up is the only recourse?
Sorry, what was that?
Blowing up the ship is the only course?
We actually don't know if they can survive in the void. And
Well, the magnitude of the explosion of the ship would definitely incinerate them, won't it?
that is correct. But however, I was under the impression that you were a inquisitorial transport ship, carrying valuable resources that we don't really want to blow up if we can avoid it.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
And if these creatures can be killed by a lack of oxygen, being able to capture and potentially dissect might aid us in our course of action. However, I will blow up the ship if push comes to shove. I just don't see the point of blowing it up when I don't know I have to.
Completely understandable.
So, we will continue our investigation here, while I attempt to send recovery teams to the ship to try and recover artifacts and anything else. And
Skiffy ever uses her hand real quick.
what was that?
In the process of us leaving the ship, I happen to have left my research on there, if that all possible, during the recovery efforts. If that could be grabbed, that would be fantastic.
She nods. Your research would be in your quarters, I imagine, in the inquisitorial section.
Correct.
Very well. I'll have teams. I was planning on having a team sweep through there anyway, in the off chance there was anything valuable. But your research can be recovered if possible. Obviously, if those creatures prove to be able to survive within the void, I will not hesitate to detonate that ship.
Completely within your right.
As Suicide Hell has previously encountered them, even the young ones are nigh on impossible to kill. Fully matured adults are... well, we don't really have the armament to take down a number of them. Aside from blowing up the ship. So...
Do we have any Astartes nearby that could perhaps do the fighting part?
There is a cell about. A Black Shield cell is within Yinderfell doing other operations. Unfortunately, we do not have them on call. They are investigating their own possible lead.
Okay.
So, if we do not have a call, the ship will be blown up if push comes to shove. We just... most important part is to get the cargo out.
If we can recover the cargo, that would be ideal. We might have to make a stop at wherever it's called. It's a station somewhere. She starts like rummaging through her papers. Oh, it's not. It honestly isn't the GM trying to look up his notes and trying to remember where this bloody thing is. I know.
Now, you said that the Certes have fought these. Is this an enemy that is a new enemy to us, or is this something that is older? I could always speak with some of my contacts at the Ecclesiarchy or the Administratum to try to find more information about them.
Well, yes and no. They've only been encountered once before, and that was unfortunately pre-Crusade. No, not pre-Crusade. Sorry, pre-Heresy. Horus Heresy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, just out of game, do we know? Do our characters know much about the Horus Heresy, or is it strictly kept hidden?
We know it happened.
Okay, my understanding of it is that you would be aware that the Horus Heresy was a thing. That Horus betrayed the War Master Horus betrayed the Emperor. You probably knew he killed the Blood Angels Primarch, because that's quite iconic. You wouldn't know there was such things as traitor Space Marines. You do know that, like, the Crusade basically crumbled because of the War Master's actions.
Broad strokes.
Yeah, broad strokes.
Broad strokes, heavily augmented ecclesiarchal version, I'd imagine.
Yeah, like the Horus betrayed the Emperor, etc., etc. Like, you know the basics. You don't this thing. You wouldn't know anything about Space Marines either. You know they're amazing, and that's about it.
Okay.
No, yeah, you wouldn't know different chapters. Yeah, she's anyway. It was pre-Heresy and Horus Heresy, so a lot of the records have been damaged or lost. The Black Shields we encountered were able to give us some new information. The operation that occurred involved 5 separate chapters, numbering about 200 to 300 Marines in total. The main force assaulted what was their Nexus planet at the time, and were able to destroy it. Or at least contain it. A single void ship, however, left the system on what was effectively a hunt. These creatures left some deep system, Imperial system sector, to now go to what is now known as the Yinderfell system. At the time, it was uncharted space. While they were there, well, you may actually be aware of the ship in question, or at least some of the rumours relating to it. If I can ever find out the bloody name of the ship again. Sorry, it's been like so long and my brain's decided to gem. Relentless Retribution. It was a Space Marine vessel that did a long warp jump, basically halfway across the now known Imperium.
That's
into the-
impossible. Well, near impossible.
We learnt that the ship has a unique warp travelling system and navigation system. According to the Black Shields, the ship could reliably warp jump in system due to some sort of archaeotech navigator array. I believe one of them said it had 1,000 navigator brains inside it.
Right.
Archaeotech MacGuffins! The Black Shields themselves are investigating relentless retribution and links some new information that has surfaced in regards to it. Any questions?
Actually, yes. But what is the name of our current throne agent that we now work for?
Oh, me. My name is Arix.
You say Alex with an L?
Arix.
With an R.
A-R-R-I-X.
Thank you.
This person. This one. Random fangirl screaming in the background.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
I don't think so.
Then she
Not at
will-
this time.
Yep, she will freely dismiss you. She says, I suggest talking to Zangu and the other members of Suicide Cell. They may be able to brief you up to speed, bring you up to speed a bit better than myself. They might have details which I've missed. Dismissed. Sips recurve.
So I shall turn to leave and head towards, I presume, where Suicide Cell would spend their downtime.
I follow.
So the ship you are on is kind of very, very luxurious. You have a lot of free reign. Simply things like your quarters. Before you had like a small room, with a desk and basic necessities, right? Here you have like an ensuite, like a massive bedroom sort of thing.
As it should
Bedroom.
be. As it should be.
Yeah. Like everyone has their own living room, bedroom, bathroom, study. Yeah, very luxurious and slightly heretical. There are a number of other facilities on board the ship. There's most a Xeno librarium from the Rogue Trader House. Which is quite useful. An arboretum, which is basically just a massive park on the ship, where Zangu goes about and scares gardeners.
Yeah.
Ah! Sorry, that's all I imagine when I sit and I think of the arboretum. It's just like your character stalking it, hunting gardeners for no other reason.
No, I imagine he has like set up like a small hut with a farewell type shrine to the emperor and such. So he's not as such evil or trying to scare people. Just he's just living there like he was on some forest planet, rather than a ship.
I like the idea that he's like flooded an area to make a swamp and just lives there. Sorry.
So somebody enters and steps in and mock. What is this?
there is indeed a large Xeno librarium. It's mostly from the Road Trader House.
Xanatov?
Xanatov, thank you. And what they've encountered and such. It does have a number of records, especially older records. And unlike normal Imperial records, these aren't censored as much because they're resources of a rogue trader. And
Scythia is just... She's just squeeing in delight like a little girl at this opportunity.
No one stops you.
Alright, I just dive in to just research.
Yeah, there's all sorts there. Dozens of different Xenos and all sorts. Are you after anything, or are you just...
Pardon?
Are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just, like, fangirling?
I'm fangirling, and she's just also, like, you know, getting... She's also doing, like, as much, like, research as she needs to, with regards to, you know, what they've encountered, what's in this, things in the system, that sort of thing. She actually has linguistics in Xenos markings, so...
Ooh, very nice. Well, unfortunately, you do actually have a mission, because Tranquility Station is... This Suicide Cell was here for a reason, and it wasn't for picking up you guys. So unfortunately, you can't really dive into your research quite too much yet.
Yeah, actually, if there is probably an indexation somewhere, an indexation computer, I would look up about herbs that they might have encountered in Dragons, and just keep it as a note for future sake.
The ship does indeed grow a number of unusual plants and exotic herbs and such.
Excellent. I now just need a lab, and I can experiment.
But yeah, you get enough time to get an idea of what facilities are on the ship, but you're soon sort of called back together. And Gray's decided to be right back when I was just hoping you'd brief the party. Okay, never mind, Arix will do it. You sort of called back, and she goes, well, we are here on Tranquility Station for a reason. That reason is we were made aware that the Unseen Hand were attempting to infiltrate this place. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware of what Tranquility Station is, but it is the primary research base for the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Astra Telepathica in the Ras Rim subsystem. The Ras Rim houses a number of warp anomalies, and the reason why the Mechanicus is here is the Tranquility is situated directly above a planet known as... The GM can't find his bloody notes.
Fragmentum.
Thank you. I just got into it when you said that. Fragmentum is a hive world. Oh no, not hive world, sorry. It is a pre-imperial forge world. The reason why they have a station in orbit and haven't landed on the planet is because the planet generates a number of unstable weather conditions, including warp storms. Sorry, you were going to say something? Sorry.
No, I was just noting that there were warp storms there.
Yeah, there's very harsh weather conditions and warp storms. And so they have developed they've put a large number of resources into salvage and recovery teams, because the planet itself houses a number of unique and interesting artifacts, both archaeotech in nature and xenotech, and they suspect there is an STC fragment relating to warp technology on the planet, which is the reason for the warp storms. The party, since they have arrived, have learnt that all salvage operations have stopped due to a number of shuttles going down being taken down. They worked out that it seems to be in a certain area. It seems to be like a circle covering about 2 subsectors. Using the cover of they're like thrill seekers wanting to go down, part of a road trader house, and like wanting to make some arrangements with the admech here. They have managed to they've slowly been working their way through the various operations of a salvage team, and are like, they're not necessarily planning on going down, but they are certainly considering it.
More where we seeking for who could sabotage those salvage operations. And yeah, because it seems that someone has an interest that from this certain area nothing is brought back home or up.
They've learned that it's incredibly hostile for both, for basically everyone going down there. It's considered pilots that have done one flight are considered veterans. That's how hostile it is.
Interesting.
Yes. Various other things. They've obviously gone through various things. I believe the next thing you wanted to check out were the Scutari and the Servitors.
Indeed.
So
Okay.
they've checked out the ships and the flight crew, the ones that maintain the ships. Haven't found anything in connection related to them. They've checked out the pilots, and sort of in their quote-unquote mock-up investigation of going down there, have decided to go for a pair of very young, not necessarily young, sorry, rookie pilots who have some of the best simulation scores. And as I said, now they're going on to the Servitors and the Scutari.
Just
So, who would you like to speak to first?
So our options are the Servitors and the Scutari, if I'm understanding correctly.
yes.
Yes. There are 3 Servitor crew. So the flight crew is 2 pilots and 3 Servitors. And they want to check the Servitors to make sure there's nothing dodgy with them.
There's no one tampering with them.
Yeah, there's no one tampering with them. And they also want to check the Scutari to make sure there's no one tampering with them.
Well, I can check out the servitors if you'd like.
I think the party wants to do it as like a party, like investigate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just so.
Split the party.
Yeah.
Always split the party, even in Dark Heresy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Always
it's-
split the party, especially when there's big, scary, horrible things that can murder you instantly.
Oh, sorry, actually. Always split the party, especially in Dark Heresy.
Yeah.
My vote's for the Scutari.
Okay.
Scary. So what you want to just? Okay, I'm just gonna ask. Who wants to do Scutari first?
I do.
Who wants to do Servitors first?
Icarus does.
Okay, awesome. That's 2 to 1. So we're doing Scutari first.
Okay.
I mean, we are going to investigate those servitors as well.
Yeah. It's just a case. I'm trying to work out what you guys want to do first, and
Right.
everyone was.
No, that wasn't going to you. That was going to Icarus.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, no, I understand that. It's just Icarus has no. These these pilots are Xenos, right?
No,
No.
this is all
Oh.
this
Or
is
you.
all AdMech.
The only Xeno pilot is your chauffeur.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I don't have too much of a problem talking to him.
There's only one Xeno here, and he's the chauffeur.
And we have another Xeno, but he's currently not present.
No, that is the variant.
Cuicide.
Yeah, Citar is the Xeno chauffeur.
And saying, ooh,
It's a mutant, not a Xeno. Thank you.
could have fooled me.
Honestly, you're part of the you're Inquisition, and your cover is you're a flipping road trader.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
part of a road trader house. So like, having Xenos and humans and stuff is like
Normal?
kind of normal for them. What isn't normal for them? I don't know, settling down for a family.
What isn't normal? Anything that comes out of the wow, can't find the name. The eye.
Highborn?
Oh, anything. What's not normal for a rogue trader? Anything that comes out of the eye, the chaos.
Oh yeah. I mean that. I know road traders that go into chaos.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk to these pilots then.
No, servitors.
Skitari.
Skitari.
So yeah, you go to their ring, and yeah, again, like the pilot area, most of the area is off limits to outsiders. But there is some facilities where you can go and meet Skitari, and there's a sort of a few milling around in various things. While these seem, at first glance, they might seem like servitors, they're doing non-servitor things, such as, you know, drinking and playing pool and such. They're in fact still human.
Okay.
These are very strange. I've never seen servitors like this before.
Yeah, you probably never encountered Skitari. Unless you're of an AdMech nature, and even then, probably not much. So. Yeah. What do you want?
So these people have not yet been down to the surface?
You can't tell.
Okay.
It's entirely possible some of them have been down.
Okay.
Mortality rates are very high. That doesn't mean that anyone that goes down is instantly killed.
Yeah.
Right.
Our official goal with the Skitari would be securing an escort for our own expedition.
So yeah, there's a number of like places you can go to like. Oh crap! I got what I call. Sorry, one sec. You know, they've got like a number of pubs and bars and stuff, and this seems sort of like the entertainment district for them. Can you all give me awarenesses, please?
And one thing I'm very, very good at.
Any
Really?
modifiers on that?
Just a straight awareness.
Okay. No.
So could I roll? So is it awareness or could I roll psychonesis? Sorry, science.
Psyniscience. Yeah, I believe you can. I believe your character has the same thing as Rachel.
Sorry.
Psyniscience.
So only those who use abnormal senses note something.
Yeah, they in fact notice a... Actually, no, I know exactly why they notice this. They notice a member of the Astra Telepathica. A psycho.
Okay.
You kind of you don't so much see him as you detect his presence in one of the larger establishments.
Okay. I informed the rest of the cell about the Psyker.
Now, psychers on the station is actually quite common. There are a large number of psychers on the station.
Astropaths, navigators.
Yeah, astropaths, navigators. There is a large research department here that study Rathrim, which have a number of unusual and unique warp anomalies.
Okay.
So, psychers being here aren't inherently weird, but then again, this is the Skitarii area. So.
Well, are the Skitarii not psychers?
No.
No.
Skitarii, do you know what Skitarii are? Yes, no?
Oh,
I know
no.
what Skitarii are.
Okay.
Personally, no.
Skitarii are basically the soldiers of the Mechanicus. Highly cyberized, highly combat capable.
Yep.
Yeah. They are human, but they are heavily augmented. So, let me go Google. Actually,
Basically, the kind of Mechanicus variant of Adeptus Stockis.
Militarium. They're closer to guardsmen than to space marines.
Well, they're heavily augmented though.
yeah.
Still not quite so superhuman.
No.
Yeah, I suppose you are right there. They're probably closer to guardsmen in that they are actually human, although they are. I don't know. It's kind of like a mixed bag.
Like the step between the two.
Yeah, they're probably the step between the two. What makes them really potent is they have a lot of the Mechanicus weapons, which are insane. So
in the tabletop, I actually have a Skitarii army, and yeah, they have some pretty nice stuff. I know that at least in the previous edition of the tabletop game, they had one of the most powerful anti-air weapons available in the Icarus array.
yeah, they have some really ridiculous things. I just made an image just to give you an idea of roughly what they look like. I have done my research on Skitarii a number of times for various reasons, and they can vary from guardsmen, which are just heavily augmented, to closer to servitors, and sort of everything in between. So, but no, these ones seem to be. Yeah, at first glance they seem like servitors, but if you look at them, unlike servitors, they don't seem to be lobotomized and have NAF cybernetics.
Okay.
They seem to be, capable of doing normal human things, for the most part. A lot of them have a lot of them have cybernetic senses, as well as cybernetic limbs, but they seem to still have fleshy bits here and there that aren't rotting.
Right.
They still look pale. They actually probably look a bit more like tech priests to you guys, without the mechadendrites. Sorry, I'm so used to everyone knowing what Skitarii are that I just assumed.
Sorry about that.
No, it's my fault for assuming it. Yeah, because a lot of the time when Skitarii comes up, everyone knows what they're talking about. Because usually I don't bring it up, somebody else does. Anyway.
We demand you know the whole X canon by heart.
No, don't, because your brain would explode. Because do you know there's actually a canon war between the Warhammer Wiki and Lexicanum?
Really?
Yeah, because the Warhammer Wiki tries to make everything canon, and Lexicanum only goes with what is canon. Like, officially canon. Basically anything that Matt Ward doesn't do. But, like, if you look at the two wikis, I often go for Lexicanum because it will often be like, this is actually canon, regardless of if someone screws it up somewhere. Whereas Warhammer Wiki tries to make everything canon. So there's... yeah.
I also like Lexicanum because just the name itself is much more attuned to the setting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, it's just a bit nicer to look at, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that's always that. That's always nice.
Like, I generally go on Warhammer Wiki and it's like, great, this is a Wikipedia article, like a fan Wikipedia article. I go on Lexicanum and goes, great, this is actually everything I need to know about this.
Look at the wiki and you go like, I did not need to know the whole history of their founding up until now and every day in between.
Yeah. I just needed to know how big a shoe size they had.
Bigger than yours.
Anyway, but no, right, yeah, no, there, where were we? Yeah, there's effectively...
Skitari area, there is one Adeptus Astra Telepatica member that stands out because he is not supposed to be there.
Well, it's not that he's supposed to be here, it's just not normal, it's not a normal area for him.
Hmm?
Again, this is a public area, so...
Yeah.
There are a few other people. As you look around, you do actually spot... it's kind of hard to spot. You kind of have to look for extra limbs. But you do actually see a few tech priests. Tech priests. Not just...
Gotcha.
Skitari.
See, I would be watching the Skitari, I guess. Interested to know if, like, when the group starts talking to them, if they are communicating with each other like the tech priests do, using the binary, or trying to notice if they're using some other form of communication while they're talking to us.
Well, currently the group isn't talking to any.
What's that?
Currently the group is just in like, they're not talking to anyone, so.
Well, no, I understand. I'm just saying that's what I would like to do when the group starts talking to them. I want to be watching them for other communications.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I will also do that as best as I can, but and otherwise just pretend to be bodyguard as usual.
Okay. So you're just standing in this area. Are you going to do something
I mean,
as a party?
I will actually go about the room, not necessarily near where they pointed out was this psychic resonance, but more just seeing whatever else is in this room, whoever else is in this room.
Ah, okay. Let me re-explain it. You're not actually in a room. Oh, okay. You are in a room, but it's more of a
note?
plaza. It's more of like a plaza inside a mall, if that makes sense.
Oh, right, so I will go about the plaza.
Okay, yeah. Actually, no. Better way to describe it, you're in a food court.
I will go to the food court and I will then go order food.
Yeah. A food court's probably a better way because there's like restaurants and like pubs about, as opposed to shops. Yeah, so, no, you wander around. As you wander near the building where you heard there was a psyker, you peer in, and you do in fact see a member of the Astra Telepathica. They stand out because, unlike everyone else, they are stick thin, wearing dark blue robes and have bandages over their eyes. So they are incredibly easy to spot.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
She seems to be talking to Skitari. They're sat at a table. It's a pub, so there's kind of drinks in front of them. She's got like a small glass of water. The other two have like massive beers, like pints of beers, sort of. And the three of them just seem to be talking. There is. Do you keep watching?
I will actually go and order something. Drink as well. Sit at a table near. If able to.
Yeah, I mean you could just.
And close enough that I would be able to listen in.
Cool. Yeah. You sit there for a few minutes. You know, it's like you can't quite hear it because there's a lot of background din. You're in a pub. People are talking everywhere.
Of course.
But you get the impression she's asking them to look for something in particular. Well, she's actually asking them to take down a certain piece of equipment on their next run to get some readings from the planet.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Skitari, the two Skitari seem to be like, maybe? Honestly, we don't know when we're next going down, so we can't honestly say when we can do this. It might be years before we go down again next. So they're like, sure, we can consider it, but you might be dead by the time we go down there next. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, would it be rude to just stand up, go there and say like, I couldn't help it over here, but I might be able to help you?
I mean, it might be rude, it might not be.
Yeah, screw it. I actually don't really care about social norms, so I would stand up. I will go there, and I would actually drag a chair, if I can, sit down. So I couldn't help it over here about your problem.
Sorry, I just like the idea of like, you drag a chair and it's just like the loudest drag, like in all the movies.
Yeah.
Scythia's just hiding her face, like just, oh my god.
I don't think any of you are with him at the moment.
I thought I would have with him.
That
That's not bad.
Angelos being alone, right? Yeah.
I mean, you can be with him if you want. You can also decide to find the floor more interesting and go in the corner or something.
No.
You can very easily not associate yourself with him.
Well, I tagged along with him, and I got a drink at the bar, and then when he went up to do that, I'm just like, oh my god. This is my new teammate?
This is your old teammate.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my old teammate. I'm like, oh my god, how did I get roped into working with this person?
Like, this is it.
A little bit of highborn in me just going, oh my god.
Yeah, your old teammates, while you've worked with them for a while, you probably haven't done much in the way of, like, genuine investigation. You kind of got sat on, babysitting collection duty. Going to various places and collecting stuff. So you knew each other, but you didn't know each other, if that made sense.
Well, upon hearing the loud scraping chair, Icarus will walk in that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
And stand by.
Since everyone's going there, also stay close.
Yeah. Like, the Skitaris just kind of give you a slightly... they don't even give you an odd look, they just kind of glance at you. Without eyes or eyebrows, the Psyker very skillfully gives you a raised eyebrow. You realise that she has no hair underneath her robes. Like, It's quite well hidden because of the way she has a hood, but you can see when you sit down, she actually doesn't have any hair. She's completely bald underneath her robe.
Isn't that like normal for?
Not inherently. So it depends on the psyker and such.
Oh well.
I
Yes.
didn't think it was normal. I might just be an idiot.
So I could not help but overhear that you wanted to have something done down on the planet. As fortune would have it, I am going down to the planet quite soon.
The Skitari gives you a very odd. The two Skitari gives you a very odd look and goes, I was under the impression that we weren't sending any ground teams down due to all the ship malfunctions. Also, you're an outsider, not a Skitari.
Yes, so there would be no problem for me going down on my own vessel, which would not be contradicting the Skitari.
The two of them give you a very, like, you just told a really funny joke. The Psyker kind of goes, you are aware that the general conditions on the planet would rip apart most normal ships.
Most normal ships. But you see, I represent the interests of a rogue trader house. And there are things of special interest to our house on the planet.
She gives you a very hard look. So to bring you up to speed, you are actually the original plan was to borrow one of the ships on the station because it can go down, and whereas yours can't.
Well, I've bullshit my way this far. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, no. Oh well, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. She's like, well, if you are going down, that'd be great. No, it's not a very big device at all. It's just to get some background radiation of warp presence. Just set it down outside the ship, and before you leave, pick it up and just return it to me once you're done. The longer the longer it's out longer it's running, the better. The more data it can gather. But I appreciate if you have to leave very quickly. I hear the storms can come very suddenly and be very destructive.
I'll do my utmost best to take care that your device is not destroyed during a storm, if we happen not to get to the ship before it hits.
Then one of the Skitaris goes, if you don't get to your ship and off planet before a storm hits, you're probably dead.
I've got the luck of the devil. Wait, wrong wording in 40k.
Yeah.
Luck of the Emperor.
Luck of the Emperor.
Or the Irish, because apparently the Irish still... apparently all space nations still exist. Luck of the Irish. Who are the Irish? Luck of the Emperor. And he kind of gives you a very hard squint, and the other one kind of like elbows him. Well, there was that one... there was that, you know, there's the old master. They say he survived 3 months down there.
See, so it is possible.
The first one just squints very hardly at you.
I give him a small wave, like, hi.
Squinting intensifies.
Well, hello, gentlemen. You know, I was standing there watching this go down, and what my friend here means to say is, do you have a few moments to talk about the planet? You seem to have both been down there in the past.
The first the second one goes, I've been down there on a very short mission. My friend here hasn't, although we have been through all the training simulations and archives and such.
Gotcha. So, what's the big fuss down there? They have these big storms, but do they just come out of nowhere, or are they pretty easy to see coming?
Well, despite the Magos' best efforts, storms are still hilariously unpredictable. The storms aren't necessarily the worst you go through. Highly corrosive acid rain, razor-sharp hail, raging winds up to 200 kilometers per hour with ease. And that's not including you're dealing with warp storms, which are predictable and corrupting. Then you've also got things that live down there. Excavated that haven't made it back to their ships, and what I believe was classed as some sort of proto-human at some point, possibly the original denizens of the planet.
So how do they survive down there?
By being by being corrupted monsters of horror. They don't survive. They just exist.
And you want to learn more about this as I turn to the psyker.
She nods and goes, "Yes, I'm trying to gather some new information on background warp conditions there."
Are you trying to better track the warp storms?
Not really. I'm trying to see if there are spots of concentrated warp. Okay. There's a speculated theory that there is a warp-related STC down there. You've probably heard of it. And it's believed to be damaged in some way, hence the conditions down on the planet, namely the warp storms. And those warp storms cause the other weather conditions. If that warp STC could be located, it could be disabled. Not destroyed, disabled and recovered. Trying to locate that warp STC has proven incredibly hard. I'm hoping that... Okay, a warp STC... I'll finish her explaining what warp STC is. I'm hoping that I've developed a way of testing the concentration of warp energy in a new way that we could use to hopefully narrow down the potential location of the warp STC. So a warp STC. Do you know what an STC is?
No.
An STC is a standard complex. Construction. Thank you. I always forget the C. Basically, they are archaeotech. So, for reference, the Chimera is an STC. The Lehman Russ is an STC. The Rhino is an STC. The Land Raider is an STC. The Land Speeder is an STC. It's basically like a blueprint for a chassis or a device or something like that.
Okay.
And they are extremely valuable. A squad of scouts on once found a STC for a new pattern of knife. They were each given governorship of a planet. So the Mechanicus basically are willing to throw whatever they can to get an STC.
Yep. Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah. Because an STC, even a fragment of STC is like a fragment of a blueprint to make Archaeotech.
Mhm.
So, they are, to the Mechanicus, one of the most valuable things. Ranks somewhere just below Gene Seed. And slightly above actual Archaeotech. So, if that gives you a, roughly on the scale. And Gene Seed is literally the most valuable thing in the Imperium. Hands down.
Mhm.
So.
So you said that one of your people stayed down there for months and survived?
The second one, yes. Yes, there are a number of shelters down on the planets. Emergency shelters in the case of an individual getting stuck down there. And with a bit of luck and skill, he managed to go between shelter to shelter, dodging the worst storms and using the small shelters to survive. For, I believe it was 2 months and 23 days before before he managed to lock out and run into another exploration team. Admittedly, he has a lot of PTSD,
Okay.
which is understandable for surviving 3 months down there,
Yeah.
or near enough 3 months down there. He oversees training now, when he's of more lucid mind. The AdMech take pity on him. Possibly just study him like some sort of lab rat. He shrugged. The second one shrugs. He's not completely insane, so.
Only almost.
Somewhere between 40 to 70%, depending on the day of the week.
Mhm. Good.
They use someone else's hearts.
Hmm?
Answering, AdMech.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the AdMech taking pity on the AdMech.
Yeah.
Skitari are part of the AdMech. They are the AdMech's military branch, like the Sister Abbasal are the Ecclesiarchy's military branch.
Mhm.
So,
I was trying to have a fun quip about
Yes.
metal people
Yes.
having
indeed.
emotion.
you are here. So yeah, you're here to find out. The Unseen Hand are trying to infiltrate this place. You're here to try and find out how they've done it and what they're after,
Okay.
potentially.
Mhm.
And when you've come here, you found. You made a deal with a Majos, who's like public relations. He said he will give you information if you help with this issue he's having, which is
They have no flights.
yeah, they can't run flights at the moment because
Mhm.
something keeps destroying them. So
Exactly.
Okay.
So it would be quite interesting where he wants to put down that device.
Mm-hmm.
she
I agree.
she just wants to put it down on the planet anyway.
Oh, I understood it as she had a certain area marked out where she wants it, preferably.
No. If you ask, she's like, if I can get it down on the planet, great. That's like, I'd love to get multiple of these down in different areas and stuff, but I appreciate that might be a bit much to ask. If I can get one down there, I can at least start something.
Okay. Now, she's a navigator, right?
She
No,
is a psycho.
She's an astropath
Yes, she's an astropath.
from
Okay.
Slopefit.
She is basically the long-range communications psycho.
Mhm.
is it normal for astropaths to be having side gigs like this?
No, but then it's
We are not in a normal place.
Yeah, you're not in a normal region of...
Right.
Like, normal astropaths are like individuals who run on ships.
Right.
What you're dealing with here is an astropath who is part of the actual house where they're stationed, and they do other operations such as training psychers and researching the warp.
Gotcha.
So,
So this would fall under research.
yes, this falls under research. And it's very clearly she's working with the Adeptus Mechanicus, because otherwise she wouldn't have the device.
Right.
So, yeah. This is a research station, so there's other things which you wouldn't normally find in the general 40k universe, which are based here.
So, speaking of when you might go back down to the planet again, it seems like there've been a few accidents lately.
The first one, the more snarky one, nods and says, yeah, something keeps knocking our birds out of the sky. So until they've worked out what's doing it, they've decided to halt all flights.
Do you know what's happening exactly? Like, how are they being knocked out of the sky?
No idea. They seem to be being knocked out of the sky on the entry flights.
Okay.
Are you, Skitari, do you stay in communication with the Skitari on the ship? I heard wondrous things about how how the members of the Skitari Order can communicate during the engagements. I wonder if it, and so I wonder if it has enough range to coordinate from planet to orbit.
He smiled. He's like, in normal conditions, yes. However, we're different. And also, this is not a normal planet. Well, yes.
That I'm aware.
Well, yes, we are able to on a normal planet, we'd be able to communicate from ship to ground forces, at least to alphas. We have certain issues communicating with ships, especially when they're in flight for whatever reason. Once they're landed, we tend to have better communication. Although we generally only have communication with the ship itself. The Skitari on the ground, however, do tend to stay within range of the ship and relay information between themselves and the ship, and then the ship relays information between us and itself and us in the station. It's a side effect of the the Emperor Damned storms down there.
So there were no recurring. Would you even? Who would be that coordinates with this guitar, if anything? If there were any emergency reports from them?
That would be one of the Skitari messengers. Comms officers, he says.
Yeah.
He looks around and goes, the second one actually looks around, the nicer one, looks around and goes, I think there's one of them over there in the back. Points to like a table in the far corner of the room. And there's like two of them sat there, drinking. They seem to be drinking some sort of wine. I would say Amasek, but Amasek just is everything.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately too generic.
Oh my god, we need booze in this galaxy. Amasaki.
Yeah, like, I know. Why don't we just use the normal words for booze? Because there's lots of different words.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Mm.
no, he points to the two Skitari communicators.
Yeah.
They seem to be less cybernetic than other Skitari,
Hmm.
but then that's not saying much.
Yeah.
Do you have any additional questions for these three?
Now I will take the advice and I will report back to you as soon as we return.
Mhm.
Actually, where can we find you when we return?
She gives you some information. Like, she hands you some details. It seems she's based in one of the spires, somewhere else in the ship station.
Yeah.
Right.
That she goes. That's if I'm anywhere, it's generally there. That's
Uh-huh.
that's where we're based on our research. Our research wing's based. I can speak honest.
Sometimes.
Welcome back. So yeah, do you have any questions for these three?
Have you noticed any other outsiders other than herself or ourselves today that have been around lately?
The second secretary thinks remote goes. Yeah, there was that. Rogue Trader House. I can't remember the name.
Xanatov?
Sure.
No. We are with them.
Oh.
That
No.
is ours.
Sorry, I thought you were referencing another Rogue Trader House or something.
No. I remember we met another one, but we blew those up out of character. Or we tried. No, so yeah, I wouldn't know. Who else is here?
Oh, yeah, no, it's Senator. You decided to not get involved with House Istris.
Mistress, yeah.
Istris, yeah, no, Istris is the one that's like on the verge of civil war at any possible moment.
Hmm.
It's the one with lots of like bastard children who all want to be the Rogue Trader
Yeah.
and constantly just fight each other.
Hmm.
No, Senator is the one you tried to bomb and failed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because you decided to give the bomb like 2 minutes time, so they just threw it back out the window.
Hmm.
Yes, they tried to bomb a Rogue Trader House for no reason. Through the bomb, like, okay, they got a bomb. And someone was trying to bomb something. Some like cultist was trying to bomb a chapel. So
Yeah.
they got the bomb. And we're like, oh crap, we've got a bomb and it's got like 20 minutes on it. So instead of trying to defuse it, they were like, cool, we'll throw it into this Rogue Trader House. Ran there, threw the bomb in the window, but it had like 2 minutes left. So someone in the house grabbed the bomb, ran out into the street and just threw it into a nearby house.
Yeah, that happened.
Alrighty.
It was insane but glorious.
Okay.
Um,
I don't have any lures for road traders, unfortunately, so I probably wouldn't recognize the name.
I do.
you can make a roll then.
Alright.
If you ever want to make rolls, you can just ask.
So,
Okay.
just ask. Can I roll anything?
What are you rolling for?
Nothing. Those jokes. Can I roll anything?
You can roll.
Alright, I'm making that roll.
Nope,
Yeah,
never heard of
no.
it.
Why do you know more about rogue traders than the actual rogue trader?
Because the rogue trader wasn't any.
Hmm?
Because the rogue trader spent
Oh.
most of his time doing hard drugs.
No, I mean Icarus. Aren't you also?
I'm not a rogue trader.
No, he's a noble.
Aren't you?
I'm a noble.
No,
just a
we
noble.
were gonna have a rogue trader.
Yeah, but he tapped out.
No, I'm from the administratum.
Ah, okay.
We all are from the administrative somehow.
Mm,
There's only the administrative.
No, I would not say that's correct.
I don't know.
Okay, so what was this rogue trader? These rogue trader people down here for? The,
Didn't talk to him. You asked if I'd seen anyone.
yeah, well. How long ago did you first see them down here?
Maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
And internalized thoughts. How long ago did they start having problems?
Maybe about the same time, a little bit after. I can't remember because it's been so long and I haven't written it down.
Okay. So about shortly before you started having all these problems.
Yes.
Anyone think to question that?
I mean, what is a rogue trader house going to do to the Adeptus Mechanicus?
I don't know. We don't know what's happening to your ships, so I don't know what they might do.
Are you actually asking him?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. I didn't think rogue traders could do much. I thought they just pounced around the galaxy.
Yeah, trading with Xenos and the Imperium alike. Who knows what gadgets they may have gotten.
You do realise I'm just a grunt, right?
Sorry to bother you.
Like, you're questioning literally like a random, the equivalent of a guardsman.
You, Guardsman, tell me if you know.
Yeah, it's like, do you know if the galaxy, like, do you know the intricate trade deals and operations of the Adeptus Mechanicus and rogue trader houses, despite the fact you have nothing to do with them?
All right. Now the administration here has no idea what's happening either. When they asked us for help.
Okay, so when you were asked for help, it was from a Majos who does like public relations and stuff. He had no idea what was happening. He'd like checked everything and hadn't seen any issues.
Okay.
But then again, the Adeptus Mechanicus do run on a sort of unique logic. So,
Sure.
and he hired you because you've never been to the station before, and he was hoping that a fresh set of eyes would actually lead to something, like turn something up.
Gotcha. Can I, kind of glancing around the court here, notice any, I don't know, using my common lore of the underworld, can I see any possible shady dealings going on in here, or any
You can give me a roll.
okay.
There's a bunch of toasters drinking. That's about all you can gather.
Gotcha.
What a bunch of toasters drinking.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, if these were normal humans, maybe, but they're so augmented that like their body language is just weird.
Right. That makes sense.
So you don't spot anything that like, oh yes, they're clearly like doing some sort of illegal activity over there.
Right.
By the way, do you remember the name of the public relations mayor?
Nope.
Let's see, I think it should turn up somewhere in the chat log.
Probably.
Except that
I did actually find her name, so I'm going to write that down.
Who's?
The free captain.
Ah. Okay, so the chat log is not loading for me.
Strange, but yeah. Yeah. What do you want to do now? You've kind of pestered these guys until they've kind of gone, I don't know anything. Please stop.
Yep.
I mean, next step would be those communication officers.
Cool. How you want? Sorry.
So, but I'm more or less just suggesting that maybe say noticed something recurring during the last during those last drops.
I know. I'm going to give you like a minute to work out what you want to do next and
Okay.
what do you want to ask them and stuff while I go get a drink.
Hmm?
So,
No, I think you're dead on. We need to find out if there's like are the ships going down all over the planet or in a particular region of the planet?
It was in a all the crashes that happened were in the same region,
area? Okay.
root region of the planet.
And they have no indication of what happened. The ships just
As far as we know, yeah. It what we find out, it can't quite be the maintenance crews that someone was sabotaging it there, because those are randomized and it has always been a different crew assigned to the ship.
right.
And it also couldn't have been the pilots, or it's unlikely to have been the pilots, because those are very like clan bound or honor bound, and it seemed rather unlikely that someone could bribe them to deliberately crash.
Is it possible that somebody could upload a computer virus of some kind into one of these guys?
That is why we're going to check the servitors.
Okay.
Or that's how I understood it, at least.
Well, I wasn't sure if the pilots themselves were enough machine to.
No.
make that
The pilots are relatively human. Assume
So they don't have any mental augmentation at all?
Not that I would know. So it's the basic stuff like MIUs, but they aren't highly cyberized like the Centauri.
Okay. Right, yeah, so I guess we should talk to the servitors, because they would have more data, right?
I would first get to the navigation officers if the Skitari were sending similar catastrophe signals, basically.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, that's at least my point of view.
Sure,
And
what's that?
Hmm?
I didn't quite get that.
I said so. That is at least my point of view.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I
It's
mean,
relevant because I'm back.
Yeah?
Hi.
yeah, it might be relevant.
Cool. Anything I need to know?
No, we're going to the communication office next.
Okay. So who approaches them? And what do they do?
I will go along with whomever else goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously it's our noble that's leading the investigation.
Okay. Okay. So then I will go
Well,
on to the...
you are the one that wants to go down in the to the planet, officially,
Oh, okay.
and as such, are most concerned about the state of the ships.
Absolutely. So, go to the communications office.
So yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll tag along with you too, because also highborn, and just putting on airs never hurt.
Mhm.
So you're going to the two officers that were in the pub, or you're going to go to the office?
To the office.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Office.
Yeah,
Uh,
the
and-
office.
So yeah, you go there, and before you can get in, you are stopped by a guard. It's like, halt.
Mhm.
This is restricted zone.
Well, then perhaps you could go fetch the officer. That's on duty, so we could speak to him.
He nods slightly, and then just stands there. Very well. He gets like, very well, and doesn't move. Like, all he says is very well, and then doesn't move.
Are you the officer on duty?
Is there an officer on duty?
There is.
Is that person yourself?
No.
Well, could you let them know that we're here?
I have.
Ah, very well.
Has your officer responded?
He is on his way.
Good.
Why, thank you.
Man, it's
I
almost
give
like
him
they've
a
got some
big-
sort of internal communication device.
Yeah.
Requires
Almost.
non-vocal speaking that you asked about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself there. I just saw an opportunity.
No, that was great. I liked it.
It's perfectly fine.
So yeah, you kind of wait awkwardly for a few minutes. He's basically a statue when he doesn't need to move.
Mhm.
And a few moments later, a Skitari, again, sort of the less cybernised. Actually, one of his arms is still fleshy.
Oh,
Mhm.
impressive. Hello, good sir. I'm Heresy Yagsby, and I understand that there's some trouble that's preventing us from going to the planet's surface at this time.
Yes, but it's nothing to do with me.
Well, did you you look over the communications between the ships going to the surface, correct?
Correct.
Was there no communication that indicated anything was wrong with the ships?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Well, could you check?
Very well. Wait here.
Thank you.
Turns, walks back in.
And I give that curt smile of not really being happy.
Perfect. Because he's clearly not very happy either.
Right.
He returns a few minutes later. No, doesn't appear to be anything out of the out of the normal with their communications. Although, while communications are bad with ships going down, that is to be expected.
So you don't have any communications with the ships while they're in transit then?
We have limited communications with the ships in transit. Usually it's just a one-way. We have a much more powerful signal, so we can send information to them. Quite often, fresh weather readouts, information like such as that.
Is their navigation being tracked the entire time?
To the best of our ability, yes. Again, the nature of the planet makes it hard to track at all times.
And the ships just, they're there and then they're not? They just disappear?
We get a spike in abnormal activity.
What kind of abnormal activity?
The sort of normal unnormal activity, such as plummeting straight to the ground.
About how long into the flight does this turn-on happen? Is it always at this time, at a certain length of time into the flight, or is it varied?
Varied.
But it's in the same region, correct?
I do not track that information. I believe so, yes. He gives you like kind of a look. Look, I am not in charge of the investigation into what these ships go down. My job is to keep within communications and keep track of the information and send information back and forth to the appropriate individuals.
Yes. Maker, my lord, if I may speak.
Certainly.
The Magos, insert name of face Magos here, has requested us, as we are interested in an expedition to the planet, with assisting in this investigation. This is the reason why we trouble you with this.
He looks at you for a moment. He looks at you for like a long, hard moment. Sighs, very well, I can give you transcribes. Would you like... What part of the flight would you like?
The entire flight.
You do realise that transcribes start 5 hours before flight.
Is that a problem?
No, I mean, it's just a lot of information and a lot of dead air.
Or are these audio tapes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Then just
Well,
the pertinent parts.
Okay, yeah, it's not audio tapes, but it's like audio readouts, if that makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
A mix of audio tapes and audio readouts. It's just they start it hours before to do tests and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure
Right.
the system's working and not just gonna cop out after like 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
In that case, could we get the audio readouts from about 10-15 minutes before contact is lost? So basically, from the moment contact is lost, go back about 15 minutes.
Very well. That is easily done. I can get you the full readout if you wish. It's just, as I said, a lot of dead air. Is the term is.
I would like the full readout of one of the flights, yes.
Very well. I will give you the full readout of the last flights, and 15 minutes prior to what we suspect is communication blackouts, as well as all time after that.
Yes, that would be most helpful.
Yes, thank you.
He nods, turns, walks inside. A few minutes later, he comes out and hands you a data slate. Return it to the
perfect.
Magos once you are finished.
Mhm.
Of course. That wasn't very hard to...
Excruciatingly painful, yes.
I completely ignore that he said anything and just walk away.
Perfect. As soon as you even make a move to turn, he's already spun around and walked back inside.
And yeah, and let's see. Yeah, we should definitely check these out.
Yes.
I did want one that was the full length, just to see if there was any abnormal sounds to be heard.
Mhm.
But I think it's likely that the last 15 minutes will be where we're going to find anything at all.
Mhm.
This is the thing. As he said, they can speculate when things went down, but
Right.
Yeah.
readouts are quite hard. You do have the full flight one. It's 12 hours long.
All right.
Well.
Yeah, he did say there was a lot of dead air in these things.
Mhm.
Like,
Right. Well, can they be like? Can the speed be increased, or does it have to be listened to at normal speed the whole way?
no, the speed can be increased, especially for the first 5 hours, which is, yeah, the first 5 hours they turn the equipment on and just leave it running,
Okay.
just to see if anything freaks out. Then they do the
Okay.
pre-flight stuff, which lasts about 3 to 4 hours,
Mhm.
and then they depart down to the planet, which does still take quite a bit of time as well.
Mhm.
Actually, probably knowing my knowledge of space and stuff, it'd probably take even longer. But you know, like, there's a lot of like time where it's just completely nothing
Right.
source.
Yeah. So I do want to go through the long one. However, during the dead air, I would want to kind of fast forward. Is it possible to catch any little blips during the dead air while fast forwarding and to be able to like rewind that and listen to it at normal speed later?
I would say awareness tests.
Okay.
Awareness, or would it be scrutiny?
Oh yeah, no, scrutiny is probably better actually.
Okay.
I mean, for me it's the same.
Yeah, you have an apartment effectively,
Hmm?
so you can all do this together if you want.
Sure.
It's a pass. Barely, but it's a pass.
Hey. I just can't be bothered to sit there and listen quite as carefully as I want to have done.
You realise this is actually an incredibly tedious and stupid thing. I'd go and have a drink.
Yeah, something like that. Just let me know if you find something.
What is this cruising you speak of? I see nothing wrong with this.
Yeah. Two of you spot there is a slight blip.
Mhm. We rewind to that and hear it in normal speed.
Yes, it is someone cursing as they try and install the servitors.
Someone cursing at the servitor.
Mm-hmm. Like, what blasted thing? Why won't it bloody work? Bah.
That's something.
Does that voice turn up anywhere else on that recording?
You listen, it does turn up once or twice in the pre-flight stuff. You suspect it's probably one of the tech crews,
Hmm.
the guys you talked to at the first time, like the tech crews who maintain the ship and such.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that there was some problem with the servitor, right?
Of that particular flight, yes.
Mhm.
Oh, good point. We don't have this portion of the other plates.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is still information.
Mhm.
For the three of you who weren't here when we first went through this, and a refresher for the two that weren't, so what these ships, the ships themselves, are maintained by multiple crews. A minimum of 3 separate crews will check the ships over. Longer if the ship is stationed on the station for a while. More if the ship is stationed for a while. There's about 12 crews in total, and they cycle through the different ships. So, the party wasn't able to find any one crew that had worked on all of the 7 ships that went down.
Right.
I believe they found crew 2 had worked on 4 of the 7 that had gone down, but there was nothing suspicious about them. They learnt that there are 2 pilots and 3 servitors. The pilots are trained and trained from a very young age to work with each other, and they can work with no one else. They go through intense training, multiple simulations, etc., etc. Pilots are not expected to have a long life expectancy. The conditions for a pilot flying to and from the planet can be a massive toll, and pilots are always assessed after a flight. Pilots can even be killed in flights, and the surviving member will then just retire. Yeah, they are very much like Jaeger pilots in that sense. The pilots pick their servitors before a flight, and the servitors process the masses of information collected via the plane as well as communications sent. Sorry.
Anything unique about the servitors, or are they just your standard
Oh no!
craft servitor?
No, they are everything for this is unique. From the from the planes themselves to the pilots to the servitors, everything is like custom made to deal with this environment and this environment alone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
It
like
is,
even the Secretari are like specially trained and equipped to deal with just this planet. They're not like your average. Yeah, they've got like.
How long have they been here? How long's the station been here?
Ages. Well, the initial station was one of the... not the first thing in Yinderfell, but like... when they discovered this area, the station was established very quickly. So... I never decided how long Yinderfell has been around.
But they've been searching for this STC for the entire time, pretty much?
Yeah. Good few thousand years.
Okay.
My dating and stuff is very awful.
A long time is good enough for me.
Yeah, a really long time. Yeah. Long enough to have this down to, like, a ridiculous level.
Right. So, I guess we should look at the do we hear anything out of the ordinary in the last few minutes before losing contact?
Give me shooting tests. Again, everyone.
Okay.
Nope.
What test? Sorry.
Scrutiny.
That's a very good thing.
Nope.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't have it.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
have scrutiny? Ah,
I mean, in my case, it's with this only social skill I'm good at. The other is intimidate, but
Icarus. Okay, this is comparing all the different flights.
right.
All 7 of the flights that went down. Icarus, do you hear a odd sort of twang?
Oh,
Twang.
you hear that, guys?
Hear what?
Well, we've been listening to a few of these, and I keep hearing the same sound about how soon before losing contact.
Maybe a minute before?
Oh, yeah, right before, just a minute contact.
So basically, you would actually replay the audio until where you say the twang would be, and then you make us hear the twang.
Yeah, right here.
okay.
Well, what could that be? So,
I don't know, but it's in all of these.
what kind of twang is it? Metallic? Is it
Metallic. It's definitely a metallic, high energy twang.
So
This is the thing. A lot of the information you're getting back is staticky, cuts in, cuts out, that sort of thing. But you're pretty sure you can hear this twang on all 7 of the flights.
okay. So it's you said high energy metallic, so like a metal piece was flung against something else.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Let's go with that.
Okay. Well, perhaps somebody in the maintenance crew might recognize the sound,
Potentially.
or the servitors might recognize the sound as well.
Why would servitors recognize sounds?
I don't know.
Maybe
What sounds are?
servitor handlers. Servitors themselves. I don't know. Do those things even speak?
They can potentially speak if they've been installed with voice modules.
That was more or less an in-character question.
So you want to go on to the servitors, or do you want to go to maintenance?
Hmm?
Next. I'm asking the group.
maintenance, perhaps?
Okay. So yeah, armed with this data slate, we'll go to the maintenance.
Cool.
Yeah. And I want to look for like an old foreman type. Not necessarily the person in charge, but the person that looks the most knowledgeable.
That's quite hard to tell because they're all tech race, so they're all.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, you're
forgot all
this is an AdMech. This is an AdMech station. There is only AdMech.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, so we'll go up to, I guess, the first tech priest I find and say, hello, could you spare a moment, please?
No, he walks off.
Well, fuck you then.
Oh, did he walk off?
Yeah, he walked
away.
off.
He walked away. Okay,
Probably see
I
that.
will walk up to the next one and say, I require your assistance.
He glares at you.
We've been studying the audio tapes of some of the unfortunate ships that have departed recently, and I've noticed a sound. We've noticed a sound that we can't quite identify, and I'll play the clip for him and say, can you identify this?
Sounds like a piece of metal hitting something very fast. seems to be coming from exterior hull speakers. Microphone thing. Technical jargon.
You say it sounds like something from outside has hit the ship?
Yes, judging from these readouts. It's not my field of expertise.
Okay. Well, that's definitely helpful. Thank you. Is there someone who might be more expert in that?
One of the flight overseers might be more knowledgeable on these sorts of things.
And the flight overseers would not be in maintenance, would they?
No.
Okay.
Where can we find those?
In the flight overseer spire.
Thank you.
You're like asking the admech, can you like not be logical?
Hmm?
Like ask the admech a logical question, they give you a logical answer.
Yes.
Your logic is lost on us.
Yeah. No, we have like a map of the area. Of the
You actually
station.
have a guide.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So,
It's a servitor, and you say we want to go here, and he will trundle off.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we want to go to the overseer's
Right on
office.
here.
And trundles off. Leads you to another spire. Two guards outside, both look at you, like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, I am Icarus Yaxby, and we are here to see your the overseer. Could you please fetch him? One that would be knowledgeable about sound recordings or sound clips.
Right, so
We need to have a sound isolated.
you want one of the communication ones. Okay.
Thank you.
Just stands there.
I just look at him. Like, you already told him, didn't you?
Slight nod, nods head. It's almost like these Skitari have this fancy communication thing, which you mentioned.
No. I'm just like I'm thinking, it'd be easier if you had like a flashing light or something that said you were doing that. But oh well.
Shrinks, why? Why would it be easier than the enemy could see?
That is a fantastic point.
In this case, since we are not an enemy, you could probably inform us about this.
Thinks remote. Suppose I could. I've phoned you now.
All right. So I will wait impatiently.
Okay. The way he waits does not affect how long it takes for the guy to stand up. He comes down. He's a tech priest.
Good day, sir. We have been investigating some of the unfortunate ships that have gone down recently, and we've identified a sound that is common throughout all 7 of the ships. It takes place just prior to their loss, and I will play it for him. In maintenance, we were told that it sounded like something hitting the exterior of the ship, but he wasn't sure exactly what that might be.
Yeah, definitely sounds like some exterior metal hitting the exterior of a ship. He obviously after he listens to it, he's like, couldn't tell you what that is. Maybe if they were lower, it could be some sort of piece of debris that flung off a wreck. Or some of the ruin. That's not uncommon at all. But they seem to be quite high. It's very odd.
Oh, there's some...
Would it be any type of, I don't know what I would know about weaponry. Could it be some type of solid projectile shell?
He thinks for a moment. It's like, I suppose it could be designed to not penetrate the hull. That's curious.
Could it be something that hits the hull, sends out a sort of pulse that would disturb the machine spirits?
That is entirely plausible. I'm not familiar with all the unique and interesting artifacts that have been recovered there, but it certainly sounds something within the realm of possibility to be down there.
Actually, not disturb it, more like that an artifact that would be used to kill the machine spirit inside the vessel.
He seems to be like horrendous, like shocked at the idea.
Yes, I dare not contemplate the grave effects that would have, and I dare not contemplate it to be real, but it is a possibility we need to keep in mind.
I mean, it is a possibility, an outrageous one, but it is indeed a possibility. I wouldn't know if such a thing is possible, personally.
Well, all it would really need to do is disrupt function long enough for the ship to crash, correct?
Correct. I mean,
From-
without
From this height, the ship wouldn't survive, would they?
unlikely, unless there was a particularly skilled pilot.
Well,
They might be
the
an
other
issue.
thing, the other thing we found in the recording was that it sounded like the pilots were having issues with the servitors on the crew.
Maintenance crew.
Even prior to takeoff.
Yeah, that was pre-takeoff.
Oh, I thought that was during flight.
No, that's the maintenance crew having issues
My
with
bad.
the servitor.
Okay.
That is unusual. Usually, any issues are reported, and
So
Most
there
more-
were no servitor issues reported for those particular flights. Or for this
Yeah, this was the
particular-
most recent flight that we had that recording for.
I believe I remember reading somewhere that one of the maintenance crews had a delayed installment time of the servitors, but it was deemed a non-issue, and
Okay.
the servitors themselves seem to be working fine once installed.
And that's unique to that particular flight? It's not common to all the flights?
It's not common to all the flights now.
Okay.
It does occur at times. The servitors can be a bit temperamental at times due to their advanced status.
From what I understood at the maintenance levels, they would rather switch out a servitor than send one they are uncertain about.
Delays in installment are not unheard of, but unless the servitor actually is showing some issue, it's generally not an issue. Sometimes they will indeed, if they're having issues installing, simply switch them out, depending on the maintenance crew in question.
From what we already know about this place, is there like a research center that would have information about the artifacts that have been brought out?
He's like, well,
No, we know that. Our characters already know that.
What you actually, yes and no. You would know that a lot of it's not just one research center. There's a number of small, there's maybe 2 or 3 dozen small orders on the station who are all doing different sorts of research and request various things.
Gotcha.
You know that if there's a mission going down, the Majuses will try and convince the Skitari to do what they want for their order, and not for someone else's order.
Okay.
So, Yeah, there's probably you could probably find like a list of items recovered from the planet, but from there you'd have a very hard time of like tracking down what they actually did, if that makes sense.
Right, that makes sense.
Cool.
So, you think it's some sort of defense system that's knocking those ships out of the sky?
It could very well be some sort of defense system. We hadn't.
Have there been successful flights into this area?
Not that I'm aware of, no. No, this is a new quadrant we're examining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
I wonder.
Yes.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. No, I was just wondering out loud if perhaps we could fly down and take a ground vehicle into that area, but from all accounts, the weather makes that rather unlikely.
I mean, if you got lucky and timed it right, you could definitely travel across the ground. There's no safe houses in that zone, as far as I'm aware. The first thing flights into a new zone will do is establish safe houses.
Right. According to these 7 different bits of data, is this striking the ships at the same altitude every time?
He looks at the data and is like, no. Some of them are, yes. About 4 of them seem to be at the same altitude. But 3 of them are lower?
Can we? I would like to have identified which flights were at the same and which flights were lower. Mostly because I would like to. No, I'm reading too much into this, I think.
No. Finish your trail of thought, and then I can tell you if you're reading.
Because there was one crew, one maintenance crew that worked on 4 of the flights. So I'm interested to know if those 4 flights coincide.
No.
I mean, if we're going with the idea, it's an orbital defense station, and we always there was that singer blink, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the orbital defense station has a limited detection range, which is an arc from a central station outside. So if flights coming here or here or here, they get detected at the same altitude. If they come in maybe here, it's lower.
You are spot on, Gray.
Which is one idea.
Yes. If you run this theory, do you want to run this theory by anyone?
Yes.
You run this theory by the overseer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, well, very well, I will... No, come in. He gestures you into the spire, and leads you into a large... You go up an elevator, and there's several large floors, which remind you of a bridge of a ship.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big there's a big table in the middle, which looks like it can produce a hologram, and there's dozens of consoles around. And he leads you up to one of the floors and like, just come in. He puts various things into the hologram data, the main computer, and it displays what appears to be a ruined city in a faint purpley. A lot of the edges are blurred. There's a few bits and pieces, especially near the edges, that seem to be a bit more clearer. He inputs the flights down, where they went down in various places, and then draws a dome. And all flights match up to that dome.
Looks looks like we have something to investigate.
He marks.
Although this also should give you a safe zone for other flights in that region, perhaps.
Yes, this is. I believe with this information we may be able to predict a landing where we can. Yes, we should be able to come up with a new landing zone. He starts moving the map around. He pinpoints the. He puts a blue marker in the very center, and if you look, that structure seems a little different. It seems like a dome, in fact. He then starts drawing orange lines out away from that dome that seem to follow old highways and major roads.
Okay.
And then he starts moving the map around. He presses some buttons. A bunch of yellow spots pop up. Some of them within the dome, some within out. And he starts drawing orange lines, and he connects orange lines with yellow dots outside of the dome.
Okay.
And goes, there we go. We have some speculated landing zones outside of the dome.
Wonderful. Are there any blind spots within the dome that are safe to land in?
Not as far as you can see.
Okay. How far away from the center is the nearest landing zone?
Good distance away. My brain has switched off with distances.
Okay. But miles and miles?
Yeah, miles. It'd be a long trek, even in vehicle. You're looking at a few-hour vehicle trek if everything went smoothly.
Which is unlikely,
Right.
given what we know about the planet.
Okay.
He looks as well. We need to get to this location. We need to get to this dome. I can ask around. There may be some sort of prototype safe zone that we can. Mobile safe zone that we could use.
I'm sorry. I didn't quite catch what you were saying. He's going to ask around for a safe zone within the dome?
No.
What he's looking around for is like a portable gather field or something that keeps us temporarily safe from the warp storms while we're down there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Or while the Skitaria are down there.
I will pass this information on to some of our ground plotters, the ground overseers. Perhaps they can locate underground tunnels, which are always inherently more safer against things like storms.
Right.
Yes.
Very well. Thank you. Oh, crap. So would we expect to hear back from this overseer or from someone else? Information that you would be looking for.
What are you actually asking?
Okay, we would like to find out what he finds out. I'm guessing this is going to take a few days for him to get answers.
Yes, he says, I will relay this information to Majos Sunstone, which is the Majos who is public relations.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I include everyone in that gentleman thing. I think that's an afternoon's good work. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wish to do on the station? Otherwise, we can just time skip for a few days.
I'm cool with the time skip.
Cool.
I mean, we could still look into the servitors.
Oh yeah, we could still look at the servitors if you want.
I mean, there is also the point we still have nothing on what the unseen hand was doing here, or how and why they're
Oh.
trying to infiltrate that
Right.
station.
I keep solving the wrong problem. Okay.
We somehow switched puzzle, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So let's go talk to the servitors.
It's just like, and I've now cured galactic hunger. You do realize you're just trying to find out where these people are doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, Yanksby is easily distracted.
Sunstone did say he would give you data regarding certain transitions. Should this... He's like, welcome back. This Magos is very well dressed. His suit is like embroidered. All his cybernetics gold. He's got a mostly human face. Not really much in the way of cybernetics. Like, he's got one cybernetic eye, and even that isn't like a big chunky cybernetic. It's like a nice slim one. And he's very much... looks more like a human being than a lump of sentient metal, which most tech priests do. It's like, well, if this information proves correct, we will be able to... I will happily transfer the information regarding House Sundmer.
Okay.
I've heard back that you are planning to go down to the planets.
Yes, that's the plan.
Very well. Do you have a Skitarii team sorted, or do you wish to sort that out yourself, or would you like me to sort it out?
We kind of owe it to those two we tortured earlier, don't we?
No, you don't.
No. Okay. Then any two should be fine.
He raises an eyebrow. You do realize we sent down teams of like 12 Skitarii.
Oh, yes. Any team should be fine.
He nods. Very well. Was there anyone else you had already arranged? It's great actually. I heard you've already arranged your pilots?
Oh, but have we already arranged pilots?
We have a pilot?
You have already arranged your pilots.
Okay, yes.
I mean, one of our pilots, isn't he?
No, because your pilots can't your pilots can't handle this situation.
Yeah.
You know how I described like the Jaegers?
Yes.
You need those pilots
Okay.
to get down there. You already have. You questioned about a lot, and the one you went with, or at least the old party went with, was two that haven't done any flights, but have some of the best scores in the simulation.
Right.
They hold the highest score of living pilots in the simulation, and some of the best on the station's long record. So
That's impressive.
yes, and the simulations are incredibly accurate to actual flights. The Adeptus Mechanicus do not mess around with these simulations.
Yeah, well, they've been here 1,000 years or so. They should get it right by now.
Yeah, they've had a few thousand years, so. Yeah, they've got him pretty spot on. So yeah, you've got some really good potential pilots.
But we still haven't solved the problem they asked us to solve.
Which is?
To find out what
Unseen
that organization is doing in here,
Yeah.
or how
Yes.
they're getting
As I said-
things done.
That information will be given to you after the flight.
Okay.
Let's think. I want to do the flight next session.
Okay.
So we go visit the servitors.
Yeah, you can go visit the servitors. Actually, I can end the session with the actual flight, or you can visit the servitors. I want to do like the actual being on the ground next session. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll go visit the servitors.
Works for me.
Cool.
Yep, servitors it is.
Mhm.
You go down to that particular level, and the guard sort of stops you.
Yes. What can I do for you?
This is restricted access. What can I do?
Yes. We've been asked to look over the servitors to make sure that there's nothing nothing wrong with them. Is all. This is under Magos
Sunstone.
Sunstone's authority.
You do not appear to be of the Adeptus Mechanicus. What can you do that the Magistus cannot?
We have different specialties than the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Magus thought that an outside look might prove valuable to his already grant research, and I'm looking for grant word is comprehensive research. He wanted a outside look on it and to collaborate with his own research on it.
So you'll want to speak to the Magos then.
Sure.
Very well. Follow me. Opens the door and leads you through. Do you follow him?
We do.
He leads you up onto a catwalk that oversees a production line. Well, it's less a production line and more of like a series of workbenches where the servitors are being worked on.
Okay.
There's at least 3 or 4 take priests at any given workbench. They seem to be... Some seem to be disassembling servitors, some seem to be assembling servitors. They're certainly not like your normal servitor.
Not like the ones leading us around.
No. They seem to be... There seems to be a lot of advanced computering on them.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
He leads you to like a large domed structure in the middle, hanging from the roof of this area. Stands by the door and lets you in. Do you enter?
Thank you. Yes.
The dome itself, there's a small ledge. The dome itself is glass, although it's mirrored glass so you can't see in. Inside there is a large... I can only describe it as basically GLaDOS.
Okay.
No, not GLaDOS.
Like a large machine hanging from the roof, with a large single eye. It bears multiple insignia of the Mechanicus. The eye glances at you, or it looks at the party as it enters. What are you doing in my work zone?
I understood we were here to see a Magos.
I am
And I'm looking around, not at the eye.
I am the man just oversees this.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, we were just asked by Magos
Sunstone.
Sunstone.
Sunstone. Yes,
I've even put it in chat.
I know. I was scrolling up looking for it too. We were asked to investigate the problems with the flights. No, that's not it. We were asked to. Well, yeah, I'll still go with that. But we thought it would be nice to look at some of the servitors and see what you were doing here with those. It seems that they're very much advanced.
Yes, they are required to be highly advanced due to the nature of the information they process and the quantity of information they process.
Okay. And what safety protocols do you have with them to prevent outside interference?
Outsiders cannot interact with them. They are under lock and key when they are not below me in maintenance, and I individually test each one before they are sent out to make sure that they can handle the necessary information. They also run through multiple simulations to make sure they can handle the information necessary in an appropriate and responsive time. of 0.002 microseconds.
And are they looked at when they return as well?
Yes. And when they returned, I assessed them for suitability, the recovery of parts. A servitor can only sort of handle one flight due to the information it handles. Often burns out secondary and tertiary systems.
Is it possible that someone could influence the?
No.
No, just no. He's pretty sure of himself here, isn't he?
Yes.
He is a
He's a
Magos.
Magos.
Of course he is.
He's not even just a Magos. He's a Magos that's hardwired himself.
Yeah, good point.
I'm certain nothing can happen to influence the servitors while they are within your custody.
Your
How
custody.
are they secured between here and the ships they support?
By a direct elevator that goes straight down to the hangar bay in question. There's also a number of tech priests that's assigned to them to make sure they are installed. A number of maintenance crew come up, as well as the pilots. The pilots pick the servitors they wish, and then the entire team goes down to the hangar where the servitors are installed.
Are there differences between the various servitors?
Each one is custom built depending on the requirements and things.
Oh.
Due to the nature of these, there is always minor. Each part is custom made, and so no two servitors made here are the same, even though we only make 3 particular types.
Is there one of each type on each flight, or?
Correct.
Okay.
The first is a weather recorder, who processes all the information on the weather that it can. It has to process hundreds of miles around the ship in question. Not only just the normal weather, but also extreme warp weather. There is a secondary, there is a navigation one which tracks movement on the planets, as well as the ship, the station, other ships, large pieces of debris, that sort of thing. And then there is a tertiary one which acts as a reserve for if either of the two were to suffer any issues, and is offloaded processing power.
And yet, there seem to be problems, even though your meticulous work yields no.
Balta? Hello? Ah, crap.
This crew have had difficulties, taking extra time.
Sorry, I missed. Balto started and then my Discord froze.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, go ahead, Walter.
Though there seem to be problems, according to maintenance crews, despite your meticulous approach and very professional work.
The problem's then with maintenance crew, not with my work. I am aware that sometimes the maintenance crew feel that my work is inadequate, or that the installation time is too long. However, that is just them not taking the necessary care and precautions. I assure you that my work is of the highest quality, and I would not even suggest a servitor that I suspected to be anywhere near anything else but perfect.
Well, of course, your work is not being called into question at all, Megos. It is merely that the crew states that there are problems. We would just like to discover why they would say something like that, even though we can clearly see you taking a very, very methodical approach to your work.
The problems are with them installing. In the manner they install it, they either do not do the necessary rites, perhaps skipping a verse or subverse, or some other issue related to them. It is certainly not my work.
Certainly not. Certainly not.
If that is all, I shall return to my work.
Would we be allowed from a safe distance to observe your work?
So long as you stay on the catwalk and do not attempt to interfere in any way, you may observe it for a period of time. If I feel like you are interfering in any way, I will call the Skitarii to remove you from this site.
That is
Of course.
perfectly clear.
That's acceptable.
The eye then turns away from you and looks down. From here, it seems like the glass is designed in such a way that it can see the entire room. You also note that there is a number of picked feeds, like on the ceiling, which seems to be of cameras in various angles,
Okay.
directly over the stations. If you watch those, they actually turn out to be cameras directly feeding from the tech priests themselves that are working down there.
Okay. So, if anything out of the ordinary would have happened in this particular area, Tech Priest Galados, Magos Galados would have noticed that.
Yes. This Magus would just spot it, like, immediately.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
So,
You see,
while he is working, do we notice anything strange happening? The servitors, like the ones he's finished with, how do they just be kept standing there, or are they moved?
So they're all like on stations. When they are finished, they are carefully put into a box, and the box is put into a container on onto like a rack on the wall.
Okay.
So even when they're finished, they do not leave this room.
Okay.
And you can now see there are a number of, like, if you look on the walls, you can see a number of container, like, boxes where they've got them. And also, for the obvious reason, this guy is always going to be here 24/7 because he literally can't move.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, are the boxes marked with their individual abilities, or not abilities, but
The type?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so they can be. You can just look at the box and determine if it's something that you want to use.
Yes, there is three. On the box, there are 3 colors: blue, red, and yellow. So at a glance, you can tell there's a bunch of blue ones, a bunch of yellow ones, and a bunch of red ones. You suspect for the 3 different types. Each box also has a serial code, actually quite a long serial code at that. And as you watch, sometimes these servitors are removed from boxes. And like at one far end of the room, there are a number of the fronts of ships. And they lift up, and they 3 servitors will be removed, 1 of each colour, and then 3 new servitors will be put in there. And there's like a maintenance team there that like installs them. You suspect that's the testing protocol.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
And directly below, as you look around, there is actually a large hazard square that's marked out with hazard tape, which you suspect is the elevator that goes down.
Okay.
Okay, so
I kind of whispered to the guys, I don't know that we're going to find anything here. This looks pretty ship tight.
No, actually, the mage just inspects them when they return. And once he's finished with them, he doesn't inspect them anymore. He only lets them test. Correct? No? He also inspects them before they leave?
Yeah, they are inspected before they leave, they are inspected when they return, they are then disassembled, and new ones assembled.
Yes. So he inspects them before they leave. So somewhere between them leaving and being installed, something happens.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, do
Well,
we know that
it's-
something's wrong with the servers?
That's what they think, right?
Hmm?
That's what they suspect. That there's something wrong with the servitors.
Who?
No.
No, 'cause we're just looking into how the criminal organization is.
So when they are picked, they have a final inspection done,
Hmm?
and then the maintenance crew that will install them and the pilots go from this room straight to the hangar bay via a single elevator.
Hmm?
So
Yeah, I don't think there's anything here.
Yeah. So, if someone were to tamper with the servitors, that would have been done by either the pilots themselves or by the maintenance crew.
Right. And you've already ruled out the maintenance crews, right?
Because, yeah, they are randomized and basically don't know where the chip is going. That's a check for.
yeah, the maintenance crews. There are always 3 separate maintenance crews who will check a ship, at least, usually more. And if there is even a slight issue with the ship will be put into maintenance, and it cannot be put onto into active use. Because even the slightest flaw could mean disaster for these ships.
Right.
So,
Okay, so thinking back to like that psyker that was asking for a special favor to be done from the pilots. Is there any way for the pilots to verify who's asking them to do things?
that's not the pilots. That's Qatari.
Hmm?
Right.
That's the actual. That's the people that go onto the ground and do stuff. Yeah, you imagine there's probably ways they can verify stuff, i.e., ask them out.
Hmm?
And Skitarii can. Skitarii have a bit of luxury, as I've already told you, in that they can pick and choose what missions they want to do for who.
Okay.
Yes.
Because there are so many Majoses on the station, and if they all ordered them to do something, and they weren't yes, they literally couldn't do it, because there'd be too many orders. So, the Skitarii have the luxury of picking what they want to do while on the planet, and generally they tend to pick what they want to do depending on where they are and the weather conditions and stuff.
Hmm?
So,
But I'm not really coming up with a good idea on how to figure out if the pilots are being, or the crews are being infiltrated somehow. Not infiltrated so much as being used.
Sabotaged.
sabotage.
Yeah.
There is the entire possibility they aren't.
Hmm?
You theorize that there is a defense weapon down on the planet that is still active,
Yep.
Hmm?
and that could be the entire reason why ships are being taken down.
Right.
There doesn't actually have to be some secret conspiracy.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no.
we're the
We're the
Inquisition.
Inquisition. We're the Inquisition.
Yeah, Yeah.
I mean, there is a secret conspiracy, which is the unseen hands infiltration, but it isn't necessarily related to the crashing ships.
Right.
That is correct, yes. You will get additional information after the ground mission.
Hmm?
Okay.
So, while I'm fully aware you don't have any leads, and that may or may not be on purpose. Although I do admire your determination to try and find leads where there may or may not be any.
It's called red herrings, man.
Yeah. So yeah.
But that's why they have agents like us, our acolytes, to do all the bettering chasing.
So yeah. If you are still if you guys still want to go down to the planets,
Yes.
which I think you do.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah.
Yeah,
You
ready
are
to go
all-
for planet.
Well,
Mhm.
let's get ready to get shut down and die.
Never said that. You are all put on. You are all given special equipment, which I will list between this session and next. Because I may or may I kind of wanted to give you some like cool custom weapons for when you're down there as well.
Okay.
But we're not combat oriented.
I don't care.
I don't know how this weapon works.
So that will be dead.
Fine.
Would you like a nice shiny weapon, or would you like to be dead?
I'd like the nice shiny weapon, then, please.
I'll take the shiny weapon.
Oh, actually, if any of you would rather be, if your characters are like, actually no, this is really stupid of me to go down there, that's totally fine, and I can give you a Skitari to play for next session.
Yeah, my guy is mostly like a contact person, to be honest with you. Icarus is not so much the doer as the dealer.
Fair enough. We can sort that out between sessions. But anyway,
Okay.
those
sure.
of you who want to go down, board up. You are given special armor, straps in. You see in the hangar bay there is a large tank. If any of you have, it's larger than a Chimera and a Lehman Russ. It's quite big actually.
Wow.
And it's loaded in.
Yes, I actually will go down there because we might need medical care.
Yeah, you might need. There are a number of Skitari with you as well. It is a long and boring and dull waiting round game, as they do all the pre-flight stuff. They eventually launch and set off. There is a lot of turbulence. If you didn't know better, you'd expect you are actually crashing for the entire time you're going down.
Oh.
Down and down and down you go. You hear howling winds outside and the plinking of hail off the ship's armor. At times you think you hear whispers, something out there whispering your name in the wind, and you eventually land.
Yeah, the whole time in that flight, I'm just basically playing with my psi focus, just as a calming technique.
Well, actually, you have to spend the entire time holding on tightly because there is so much turbulence you think you're going to crash.
Yeah.
I don't want to die. I'm too young to die.
You can't
Okay,
really.
I try and focus on that in my pocket.
Yeah, that's about the best you can do because if you try and pull it out, it's going to go flying everywhere.
Fair enough.
I imagine anything softer than steel around Sengo's seat has no claw marks. Claw marks. As he is basically trying to hold on.
The ship lands, and you are a little way out of the expected gun zone, right? The Skitari lead out. You've landed on a old on a old, large... you've actually landed in an old warehouse inside it. Because it will provide some shelter to the ship. And when you exit, you see some of the Skitarii going upstairs to go onto the roof to try and assess the area.
Okay. Would we be able to follow them? Would we be able to follow them? Well, first I would do is fall to my knees and like, sweet, sweet land.
Yeah, you can follow them.
Yeah.
Icarus is sipping on a martini in one of the bars.
So there is one key thing you should note, is that the shuttles are all in a deep red. Although admittedly your one is currently a deep red splattered with black and purple markings. Anyway, those of you who go up to the roof, you look out over the city, and you see one of the Skitarii like pulls out like some sort of binoculars, or monoculars, whatever. Binoculars, yeah. And he's like looking out, and he like stops for a moment as he's looking out, hands it to one of the other Skitarii, hands it to the Alpha, which is the sergeant, and the Alpha is like turns to you as there is a change of plan.
Can I look? What we're expecting?
We were expecting a straight ride to, well, hopefully a straight ride to the gun site.
Yes, but whatever you saw through those binoculars is bad.
He hands you the binoculars.
And use them to look where he looked at?
Yep. And you see a ship that has crashed.
Huh.
Or not necessarily crashed, but you can see a ship. That you can't really see if it's crashed or not, but its coloration is blue.
Which is not. I was going to ask, it's not red, is it?
Nope, it is not red. There is someone else down here.
Well then,
Okay.
I'd say take whatever you want to do, Sergeant.
I want to that ship.
Excellent idea.
Question: where is that ship in relation to the suspected gun site?
About halfway. It's about maybe a little bit out by here.
Okay. So it's not that ship that was taking down the shuttles.
No. But he's like, I want to investigate that ship. Because I was not made aware that there was anyone else down here.
Neither will we.
This is very sound logic, Alpha.
And I think that is a good enough cliffhanger.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. How did you guys enjoy that?
I enjoyed that a lot.
I liked it.
Yeah. It's going to take me a little bit to get back into the proper swing of it, of GMing. I'm trying to do more with friendly NPCs and making them less potatoes.
For me personally, I do like the fact that we're tagging along with some Skitarii.
Oh yeah, no, like, I am... Oh, sorry, Rachel. Rachel, if you want to do something, just say, and
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for an opportunity for like someone to address you. If you want to do something that you feel is in character, please just say. Because if I don't notice it, generally somebody else will ping me and let me know I haven't noticed it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Yes, you will be down with there with some Skitarii. If you don't want to play your character down there, you are more than willing to play a Skitarii. You are more than free, sorry. This isn't, like, within your mission briefing.
Nothing is ever in the mission briefing.
Well, there's mission briefing, and then there's like, this is just not a situation my character would ever put themselves in.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I still remember. It's either you walk or you follow me, or you get the gun points. So,
For this bit, not so much. So the situation for this is, you didn't have to go down here if you didn't want to.
no,
The Skitari will go down here and they will do their mission, and then they will get back.
well, actually, when we came back, I should have put the device on the ground,
Okay, you put the device down? That's totally fine.
so it starts recording.
Awesome. I might have a number of other missions. I might have another other Magoses approach you with potential missions you can do while you're down here. You do not get to keep any of the shiny gear you pick up down here, just as a heads up.
Aww.
Because it's probably likely hilariously warp tainted.
It's either hilariously warp tainted or archaeotech. And in either case, they'd rather gnaw off their own megadendrites than give it to some random inquisitors or explorers or whatever.
Some random rogue traders, because you haven't omitted your Inquisition. So.
Right. Random explorers then.
Yeah, random explorers. So it's. I believe it was part of the original agreement they said to you, like, months ago.
Yeah.
Month plus ago. So, but yeah, I hope you have enjoyed it. I shall award 100 XP for this session.
Alright.
Because I'm going for the 100 XP until you complete an arc, and then you get 200. The vote.
Would vote for Zengu.
Same.
Oh. I would vote for Angelos.
It's decided.
Yeah, I think that's what, 3 for Zengu?
4
and
4 for Zengu.
Okay.
Okay, so the entire great, you get 50 XP.
Yay.
On my pins, I have the party at 3,200 XP. Is that correct with everyone?
I am a total, because I got a bonus ones, at 3,400.
Okay, I was at 3,400 and I've never gotten a bonus.
I'm at 3,450 with the bonus.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's so you should be at 3,500.
400, 3,400.
No, 3,500 now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That should be correct. 3,500. Cool. Then yeah, thank you very much, everyone for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I shall see you next time. Bye.
Alright.
Uh,
Bye.